Here with ContraBIM. Today we're going to mix things up a little bit from some of the previous episodes. I'm on the road traveling, so um, definitely going to be doing a little different presentation today, but hope you enjoy it nonetheless, and let's go ahead and get started. So really what I want to do today is challenge all the viewers out there that use ArchiCAD for design, whether it's architecture or engineering, and really challenging you to look through a different lens at ArchiCAD. And so today I'm going to help do that just by switching up our backgrounds here and everything we're going to be looking at. These are all through my PowerPoint today. These are all just snapshots from ArchiCAD, just with a little different filter on them. And really the whole goal is to not look at ArchiCAD for design, but really for the planning of design and construction. So that's really the topic of the conversation today. So this is actually a presentation I did just last night at a user group meeting held by Graphisoft in Culver City. Thanks to Sorensen Architecture, they put on a great event last night. A lot of people turned out, and it was a really great time. So yeah, really this is my presentation from last night, and what I want to cover real briefly is just some of the ArchiCAD uses for construction that I've used in the past, and then really just kind of discuss the whole concept of a builder BIM template. So for me, it's all about content management. It's all about reports and integrating the tools that allow you to really get the job done in a streamlined fashion. So, okay, a little introduction just into myself. I'm a proud Cal State Long Beach grad, and really I started using ArchiCAD back when I was in school, probably starting in 2007, preparing for the Associated Schools of Construction competitions. And so that's when I first started to really get my feet wet in ArchiCAD, and I think I actually downloaded Revit and ArchiCAD the same day and just stuck with ArchiCAD because I certainly love it so much. So really, after I graduated, I went through and really worked in the commercial construction market in Southern California, serving Los Angeles and Orange County, and even reaching down to San Diego at times. Going through the field as a project engineer, into estimating, and finally landing in virtual design and construction, which is really where my passion lies, and I knew I wanted to end up there even before I went into the construction engineering management program. But I always had been fascinated with 3D models and building information modeling, and had some ideas of how to really improve the processes. So just taking a look at some of the uses in the past, there's really a lot of interesting ways that you can use ArchiCAD outside of the typical design workflows. So all these images today, again, these are all just snips right from ArchiCAD, and just with a little filter here to give a little unique perspective on the different types of uses. So this is an example of just a historical retrofit modeled in ArchiCAD. You can see some of the nice texturing there that still comes through with the filter. Did a lot of different presentations and proposals using ArchiCAD, building up different site plans, merging together Google Earth imagery with Revit files, with logistics models, with everything else. So for me, it's always been a way of bringing everything together in one very clean workflow. So a lot of different high-rise projects that we've looked at. ArchiCAD's great for just bringing in big projects, whether it's SketchUp files or other file formats, and just putting it all together and adding different equipment such as cranes and placing booms and that type of thing. So did a lot of different logistics plans, whether it's figuring out how to build complicated projects with limited access, how to install ideal locations for man lifts and different equipment, how to access projects through different scaffolding approaches, and just creating the ability to get to the scopes of work themselves, and figuring out the plan for how to build a project. Certainly done a ton of trade coordination, talking about not only just MEP systems, but also structural coordination that goes along with that, as well as framing and everything else. So these are just some examples of different types of coordination. Underground utilities. This is a map of a project that we took over that actually had a lot of the utilities already installed underground. So we went out and surveyed and then brought all that information back in, that survey file in, and modeled up all the underground utilities and coordinated all the scopes that were that still needed to be installed. So it's a good example of just merging together 5 or 6 different subcontractors' shop drawings and survey files and everything else. Done a lot of overhead or reflected ceiling plan coordination. So this might pop out as an example of a casino, which has some of the most complicated ceiling grid coordination out there, just in terms of locating lights, locating TVs, locating security cameras, and everything else, diffusers, you name it. It all has to fit up there somehow. So another great example of just taking several different trades shop drawings or coordination drawings and bringing them all in and aligning them to grid and making it all work, or identifying the issues where it doesn't work. So, and then of course overhead, which is what you typically think of when it comes to MEP coordination. But again, another great example of taking all your subcontractors' coordination drawings that help get them to their shop drawing submittal status, and bringing it all together, finding out where the issues are, and producing composites, which are really helpful for just seeing where your congestion is and understanding the issues. So, of course, beyond coordination, there's a lot of other things we can do in ArchiCAD. If you saw the episode from last week, we were talking about how to create complex excavation volumes using different topography and some of the solid element operators. So certainly we can create some really complicated calculations and simplify it down and make it really easy to understand what the volumes are coming out. Certainly we can do quantities and calculations for a number of different types of structures, whether it's concrete, steel, or looking at glass curtain wall systems or storefront systems. And then for even self-performed trades, there's a ton of opportunity for just merging content together and really digging out the details that it would take to actually build a job. So in this case, building up different panel drawings that get sent to the shop for fabrication and then eventually laying out in the field. And really the sky's the limit in terms of what you can do with ArchiCAD to support the subcontractors and the sub-trades. And then of course, some of the really powerful functionality that I really enjoy about ArchiCAD is just the ability to add that next level of detail and information, such as adding in coordinates for exporting out to a robotic total station for field layout. That's a really powerful use of ArchiCAD that I haven't seen too many people do, but hopefully we can convince a few more that this is something that can really benefit their workflows. And then similarly, with laser scanning, we can do the same thing. We can go out there, survey in the field, and then bring all this information right back into ArchiCAD, overlay them against PDFs, overlay them against CAD files, and really get that existing condition back into the model so you can coordinate the work. So really the big question to me is really why people in construction are not using ArchiCAD as much as they should, because I certainly have my views on why ArchiCAD is the most powerful tool out there for contractors, and we'll get into that here shortly. But to me, it's a very underutilized tool, and there's so much benefit there and potential that it's really my objective to really show what we can do with ArchiCAD for the builders, for the subcontractors, and really make things work on a whole different level. So the challenge here is really to retool the purpose of ArchiCAD and dive deep into that functionality and those workflows to really help extract that content, extract that information that streamlines the process and makes things work automatically out of the box and really help support people in their workflows. So what ContraBIM is it's really a template for builders. It's my version of tweaking ArchiCAD to really fit the needs of construction professionals and for trades of all different types. At its core, it's really a content management tool where you can take all different types of formats and bring them together. It's a way of really pre-programming reports, whether it's for quantities and different data to be extracted based on those quantities out of the model, for different scheduling components, whether it's scheduling pre-construction or pre-planning in the field, Certainly cost estimating, taking all this information and tying it to an estimate that you can really validate your quantities and the unit costs that you have. And also a number of other different types of reports that are really useful and really required in most cases for commercial construction, such as quality control plans, commissioning plans, facilities management. There's a number of different reports that we can create right out of the box with ArchiCAD, and so that's really the whole goal of ContraBIM, is to roll all these things up and make them really accessible and easy to use. So certainly there's some key integrations in terms of applications. These days I'm really focusing a lot on the ArchiCAD to Excel and ArchiCAD Bluebeam connections. There's a lot of potential there, and that's something that really trying to expose and show people what value those integrations can really bring to their workflows. And then the final goal of all this is really to attempt to bridge the departments. I've seen it in the past that contractors often struggle to really collaborate with BIM between different departments, whether it's estimating, scheduling, QA/QC, design review, the field guys, how to get everybody on the same page where we're all sharing the model data and generating reports from shared model data that can serve all those different roles and purposes. So really that's what I'm trying to do here with ContraBIM is bridge departments and make it a lot easier for different roles that typically aren't hands-on with the models themselves to still be able to get a benefit from the data that is inherent and built into the projects that we create. So the prime targets that I'm really trying to pick off here, of course, are general contractors. I think again, ArchiCAD is very much underutilized by contractors, and there's a lot of benefits there that I just don't think people realize or understand. So that's something I'm certainly trying to promote directly to GCs, as well as subcontractors and suppliers, because subs can certainly use a better tool for being able to bring together all their design documents they're referencing, as well as coordinating against other subcontractors, as well as just supporting their design to fabrication process. Facility operators can definitely use a tool for bringing together all different types of content and looking at their existing facilities and really just taking what their facilities are currently and bringing them up to speed with this new technology, and using it as a way of really consolidating their record documents into a format that allows them to plan the work that they might be looking at in the future. And I think even for developers and construction managers, people who are involved right from the very upfront stages, I think they can use a lot of the data and analytics that we can get out of ArchiCAD for the financial planning and really vetting of how budgets are created and the quality of the projects are set and the scopes that go into them. So when it comes to content management, ArchiCAD is certainly my go-to tool for bringing together all different types of formats, no matter what it may be. But for contractors, certainly external file formats that are common on pretty much every single project are going to consist of a variety of these different formats. But typically, especially from a contractor perspective, the first document type you're going to ever get is going to be either a bidding document or some sort of design contract drawing. And that typically is always in a PDF format. So for me, the ability to take a PDF and bring that into the working BIM environment is essential. And so that's one of the biggest features of ArchiCAD for me that really makes it a super, super powerful tool for construction people, including GCs as well as the subtrades. Design models, being able to take even Revit files, SketchUp files, different IFC files, exports from a wide variety of different design authoring sources. ArchiCAD can handle all of these different formats, and it actually allows you to bring it together, and so that you can actually take them and then start overlaying them against all these other formats as well, whether it's PDF or DWG for different design backgrounds, or trade coordination drawings, shop drawing submittals, having the ability to bring shop drawings into ArchiCAD and then review them in context against your other design backgrounds against your contract documents, your change documents, or even your design models. That's a super powerful workflow that is really not being done by anyone out there in the AEC industry that I've seen. And so just the ability to merge that shop drawing submittal format against all other types of project contents in scale, in location is one of those features and functions of ArchiCAD that, in my opinion, is best in class. So, and then of course we have other file formats, whether it's point clouds or survey files or image files, and we can of course bring all these together. So, really, the whole step for me is whatever format, whatever information you have at that point in time. It might be limited, it might be extensive, but the ability to take all those different types of content and bring them into a virtual project within ArchiCAD, and place them in the correct positioning, in scale, and in the correct coordinates is a way to really enhance your ability to interact with those different formats and kind of take a step forward in being able to review them thoroughly. And of course, within ArchiCAD, we have this wonderful tool called Virtual Trace and Reference. And that's really the mechanism and the feature within ArchiCAD that I use most often. And it's really the ability to take any type of drawing and then overlay that in scale, in location, against any other type of file format, whether it's the same format or not. So PDFs versus PDFs, PDFs versus Revit files, PDFs versus SketchUp files, DWGs versus laser scans, PDFs versus laser scans. Really, the possibilities here are extensive, and this virtual trace and reference tool is the single most powerful review tool that any contractor can have in their hands. And so that's what I'm trying to promote and really show people how they can work with this tool and really scrub their drawings at a whole different level that no one is really touching right now. So ArchiCAD enables you to do this, and that's what I'm all about, is showing people how they can really go to this deeper level of project reviews and interactivity with the contents that you have to work with. So in terms of reporting, the way that I look at ArchiCAD is there's really two main building blocks to creating reports. There's actually a few more than that, but these are the two that I primarily use. Which is a combination of drawings or layouts, as we call them in ArchiCAD, and of course model elements. Most people typically think of models as what's generating the reports, but for contractors and for planning how the design process is going to work, there's a ton of potential within drawings. So let's talk about that a little bit deeper. So drawings within ArchiCAD, even as a blank piece of paper, can really serve so many purposes that are super, super important to how you plan, not just the construction on a project, but how you plan the pre-construction activities, including how you plan the design. So we can use layouts within ArchiCAD to create different design schedules, all the way from concept design into schematic documents or schematic drawings, into design development drawings, and eventually into construction documents and permit sets. So having the ability to take a single drawing and track it from phase to phase and plan when those deliverables are due, to me, is a super powerful tool. So, kind of the next step beyond that is performing the reviews of those drawings. So once you get that deliverable, who's reviewing it? Have you looked at the what checklist you're going to apply to that drawing to make sure that that drawing is incorporating all the scopes that it should, and that it's coordinated against the rest of the drawings? Certainly the next level is who's going to be creating the estimate from those drawings, and how do you schedule that in a way that you can merge in different reviews from ownership and really analyzing those drawings to make sure that they're fully vetted and you have owner approval before moving on to the next stage. Certainly modeling schedules, if you're doing estimates driven from modeling, then having a modeling schedule is really a powerful tool, an impactful tool for planning how and who is doing what specific scopes. And then for the construction side, similarly to the design side, just by having drawings within your model template, we can start planning submittal schedules and depending on whether individual shop drawing submittals need to be coordinated or not, we can start developing coordination schedules and do this by location, area, by trade, by priority. There's just really a lot of potential there in planning work and schedules up front without ever even having a single line on the piece of paper. So we can use drawings within ArchiCAD as a really powerful tool. So again, this blank paper can really serve a huge purpose for planning, design, and construction. For model reports, certainly the sky's the limit here. There's really an unlimited type or unlimited number of different reports we can create from those model elements that we generate. The direction that I'm going with it these days, if you've seen any of my other videos, you've kind of had an introduction into how I like extracting model data, and I like formulating all of that into a format that really aligns with how I prefer to estimate. So extracting quantity data into specific trade packages is just something that seems like very, very basic, or it seems like a concept that really would help fit the workflows for most contractors. So that's something that I've set up, and that's what I'm really promoting is going in and extracting that data into meaningful reports that can really not only support the modeling process, but support key roles and responsibilities, including estimators and project executives, and providing information in a format that's easily understood. So just like from model elements, we're looking at a column right here, but similarly with zones, we can provide we can do some quick target-based estimating based off gross square footage zones. We can do program-based estimating based on specific rooms, assigning unit costs based on their square footage, or assigning allowances based on the contents that go into those rooms, whether it's equipment or furnishings or casework, finishes, whatever it may be. So we have a lot of tools built right into ArchiCAD that we can use to really start extracting really powerful, meaningful reports that really support a lot of different processes. So we can use all these reports to aid in the bidding process, actually generating reports that you can send out to bidders to have them fill out their unit pricing and production rates. We can track procurement, the buyout process of subcontractors, and tracking how they develop their submittals, how they when they're released for fabrication, when are their materials being delivered to the field, and when are they supposed to be installed. Of course, we can that rolls right into production planning and production schedules, and there's a number of other reports we can do as well for quality assurance and quality control, for planning out different safety measures that we need to put in place. We can certainly use models again for field layout. So actually, after you've gone through and developed the shop drawings and put together your composite drawings and have approval on that, then you can simply add points very quickly in ArchiCAD and use those to load up to your field handheld controllers for your total stations. We can do different field statusing, which has a big potential for just monitoring the work that's put into place. And then, of course, we can do inspections and track the commissioning process towards the end of construction and prepare things really for facilities managers and operations and maintenance. So really, this is just tapping on the tip of the iceberg here. There's a lot of other reports that we can generate that are really purposeful in their intentions and really serve specific roles of construction, no matter if you're working on the front end or the back end. So this is something that really excites me about ArchiCAD and this kind of untapped potential that we can really start getting into. So Graphisoft's done a really great job in these last few releases, starting with adding properties and then adding classifications, and now in version 22 adding expressions. It's going to take all those properties and really supercharge them for automating the data that populates those fields, so that it's less reliant on the end users to plug that information in. We can start setting up these expressions to really generate information that's more robust and more accurate. So in terms of integrated applications, my whole workflow these days is built on the goal of trying to use as few tools as possible. So certainly I place ArchiCAD right there in the middle as my primary application, but it's really important to be able to extract that information, whether it's in data format or drawing format, out to other tools that other people on the team can use and manipulate. So I look at Bluebeam as the best tool in the industry for managing documents, managing PDFs, and being able to roll all this content into dashboards that can quickly be accessed by really any type of role. And then the same thing with Excel. Excel is that tool that I think pretty much 99% of the people in the industry are already using for one purpose or another. And the ability to push data back and forth between ArchiCAD and Excel is something that really excites me, and is something that I think allows a lot of users that aren't hands-on in the model users, allow them to interact with the data that builds up the projects, and allows you to really store all that information within the models, and plan how the job's going to be run without people having to always be hands-on in ArchiCAD itself. So the whole purpose here is to really connect users based on the tools that they're already using, and connect those users into the virtual project so that everybody can collaborate at a higher level and really get more out of the pre-construction to construction workflows. So to talk a little bit more about the virtual project, which is of course located centrally within ArchiCAD, this is really the single source of the project information, the digital information that makes up our projects. So it's also the platform for performing systematic reviews. So talking again about the content management aspect of it, being able to take your contract documents and again, just overlaying your design documents against your shop drawing submittals, or against the modeling that you're doing for quantification and for estimating, or for merging those against your different design models that you're receiving. The systematic reviews that you can do within ArchiCAD, specifically with that trace and reference tool, but also in the beautiful 3D OpenGL working environment. To me, that's what the combination of those two things makes it really a powerful solution for reviewing content and signing off on it to make sure that it's really coordinated and ready to go for construction. And of course, ArchiCAD being that central source of the project information, you have to extract it somehow. So of course, we have publishers of both drawings and various reports that can then go downstream and be further analyzed, such as data. We can of course export this out into formats that can be used for estimating, for statusing of various reports, for conditioning data, which what I mean by that is by sending it out to other roles to have them go through and review either unit costs or production rates, or whatever information may need to be inputted back into the models. So that's what I mean by conditioning data, and also as a way of just kind of recording that information that's generated from the process and rolling that into a format that you can use as historical data that can then be repurposed for helping support and plan the next project. So really, Excel again is it's a window into the project database through an external application, which is robust and universally accepted and universally used. So again, with document exchange, the ability to take content in PDF format from Bluebeam and bring it right into ArchiCAD, and of course taking content from ArchiCAD and pushing it right back into Bluebeam is a really beautiful workflow. Bluebeam is really it's the window into the virtual project through a viewer. By being able to create project dashboards and batch hyperlinking, not just drawings, but also batch hyperlinking reports together. It really allows users to dive into the project contents and really see the status of everything that's happening. So, of course, for markups, if people are marking up PDFs in Bluebeam, which are then linked into ArchiCAD, of course, all those markups come through automatically, which is great. And Bluebeam is another great format for really archiving projects at the end of the day and making it easy for owners and facility operators to access all this content in a really streamlined fashion. So with that, what I'm doing with this whole concept of building information modeling for construction, and specifically ArchiCAD for construction, is I'm really trying to create a BIM network for not just professionals, but for students as well. I've spent a ton of time developing these templates and these workflows that out of the box already work together, but they're open workflows. They're really easily modified and customizable to fit really any need or niche market. So the way I want to relay this information and share this information is through the network that I've set up, which is really just access into all the different working files, tutorial files, different updates, different specific tools that we develop, and it's really a way of sharing this with the not just the ArchiCAD community, but hopefully bringing in subcontractors and contractors and suppliers, and really showing them the benefits that ArchiCAD can bring to their workflows and their projects. So I would encourage you, if you're interested in using any of these types of workflows, then check out the our website, and look into the network. And there's a lot of different opportunities for doing pilot projects together, or attending different training opportunities. And really, I want to create something that allows people to network and tap into different resource pools that is all built on the same philosophy of how we can use ArchiCAD for more than design, but also for construction and planning, design, and construction. So if you have any questions or want more information about this whole workflow, then please reach out to me. My phone number is right there, so feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email, john@3dconstructor.com, or make sure to check out the website, which I'm continually updating and modifying to try to clarify the message and reach those that really can benefit from all this effort I've put into creating these construction-based templates. But also find me on the web. Of course, you're already aware that I have a YouTube channel, but you can find me on LinkedIn as well as Facebook and Instagram. So please check me out. And with that, that concludes this presentation. And let me jump back here and let's see if we have any questions. Feel free to just type in any questions into the comments box on this video, and I will reply as soon as I possibly can. And next week we're going to be back. We're going to be talking about structural steel next week. I will be back in my office, so I'll have all my tools at my disposal. And thanks for checking this out, and I will catch you next Friday, 11 o'clock, live here on YouTube. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend.